Let's get into it. So we mentioned dual class cards. Let's actually talk about the dual class cards that they previewed, starting with a legendary shan'do Wildclaw, a 3-mana 3/3 legendary druid hunter minion, a phrase I never thought I would say. Reads, choose one, give beasts in your deck +1/+1, or transform into a copy of a friendly beast.
This is so cool. Like hunters getting flexibility and choose one effects is like on the surface makes me go, no, broken. Yuck, stop. But I think everyone's going to have crazy things like this that they're allowed to do and access to effects that have previously only been available in one class. So I think this is pretty cool.
I agree. Neither, especially Druid and neither Hunter are running a lot of beasts right now. They're Hunter is running a few very key beasts, and Druid, unless you're still out there trying to make Big Druid happen, you're running no beasts. And if you're running Big Druid, you're running
Mount Seller doesn't count.
yeah. And if you're running Big Druid, you're running 2 copies of one beast, the Winged Guardian, which I really want to make Harry Potter jokes now. But yeah, so I don't immediately look at the first option of giving all the beasts in your deck +1/+1 as a particularly massive power play. But
right now.
Exactly, right? We're in the preview. We're at the very start of the preview. They haven't shown us that many cards, despite whatever the runtime of this episode ends up being. There haven't been that many cards previewed. But either Hunter or Druid could go back down a pretty beast-heavy route. Who knows? But frankly, that hasn't stopped Hunter. And as a matter of fact, Hunter has kind of excelled with targeted beast draw plus buffing thanks to Scavenger's Ingenuity. Mm-hmm. So I don't think Hunters would mind having an additional +1/+1. Hell, face Hunters definitely, I don't think would mind having additional +1/+1. And while 3/3 isn't the most aggressive thing in the world, if your boards are hitting for one more extra, I feel like that's all it takes to convince a face hunter to consider a card. Wait, my charging minions could have one more attack? Well, it gets health too. I don't care about that. It gets one more attack. Cool. That's all I needed to know. But obviously, like right now in the with the archetypes that exist in the meta that we currently inhabit, transforming into a copy of a friendly beast, I'm like, okay, cool. I want to do that because my beasts in Hunter are huge because of Scavenger's Ingenuity. And here I have one more way to like cheat out an extra copy of a buffed beast.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great effect. And again, it gives you the flexibility and the option. And I think even the first half, if that only hits on a couple of beasts, like you don't have to make an entire beast deck to make this worth playing, because I think the stats itself are fine. And if you get into a point where you're drawing this late game and you're like, oh man, now I can't, buff my deck, there's no beast left in it or whatever. If you got something on board, then bam, it's still playable. So yeah. I think this is a really interestingly designed card, and I really, really enjoy it.
It's flexible.
I am a fan. Yeah.
If you're playing this, you have beasts somewhere, somehow.
Yeah.
So even if you got this and there's nothing to make a copy of, and the less powerful move is to do the +1/+1, at least something is happening.
Yep.
So Lightning Bloom is the next dual class card we're going to talk about. It is a 0-mana common Druid Shaman spell that reads, gain 2 mana crystals this turn only, and before you go crying, power creep, overload 2.
You gotta feel a little bit bad for Shaman, though, that it's like their class identity thing is the thing that makes this card like balanced. Like they are the downside. Like, well, sorry, Shaman.
It's interesting you say that because overload is not always a downside for Shaman.
For Shaman, but
I'm fairly certain, unless we get another dual class card that has an upside for overload, I'm fairly certain that overload is always a downside for Druid.
Yeah, I don't know how Druid really makes this work, with the exception of, the caveat of not knowing what the other Druid Shaman or just the straight up Druid class cards. Although I wouldn't expect any straight up Druid class cards to play with overlay in any way, shape, or form. I would think if they're straight up class cards, they're not going to interact with another class's mechanic. But yeah, if we do see other druid shaman spells or minions or, the legendary, I would hope that there's some upside to overload, because otherwise this seems like, why would a druid ever touch this?
I mean, it is more ramp. It's also a 0 mana spell and spell
but
druid.
It's this turn only. They're not permanent mana crystals, right? So
yeah, but
you're basically borrowing 2 from your next turn.
But spell druid currently runs Innervate.
Yes, but that doesn't impact their next turn, right? That's the thing about this, is that your next turn, you're going to be dropped back down again, which is kind of the opposite of what Druid wants to do.
Yeah, but have you lost to a spell Druid? They're not too concerned about their next turn, the turn that they go off with a bunch of free spells. Like,
that is true. It is 0 mana, and you know how much I love those.
Oh, yeah, and a bunch of them are getting there's the war against 0 mana cards in the live game continues today, as a matter of fact. I think this is still really interesting. And also, like, in the grand scheme of things, if you were going to apply Overload to any other class in the game, Druid, a class that tends to have more mana than it is supposed to in a, traditional understanding of the way the game Hearthstone works kind of way, isn't the worst thing in the world. Like,
yeah, they have ways to compensate.
Exactly.
Sure.
Overload would hurt a lot more to any other class in the game that isn't ramping their mana. Mm-hmm. That being said, still.
Yeah, so the overload could bring them back down in line with their opponent.
Yeah, so they essentially get.
Then they get a fair turn.
They get a very powerful turn now for a less powerful turn the turn after, which might end up being a fair turn compared to their opponent.
Yeah. So
another spell druid thing. Did get it confirmed that Bog Beam will, you still get the discount trigger if you're currently overloaded, but at 7 mana.
Right. So if you have 5 available mana, 2 overloaded mana crystals, then your 7 or more mana effects will still trigger.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. If you have 7 mana crystals, but 2 of them are overloaded, Bog Beam still triggers. Don't worry. Don't worry, spell druids. Yeah. You're good to go. And worry anyone going against spell druid.
Yeah, worry anybody else.
All right, let's go on and talk about Devolving Missiles, a 1 mana rare shaman mage spell that reads, shoot 3 missiles at random enemy minions that transform them into ones that cost 1 less.
For flavor and artwork, I think this is my favorite thing ever.
It's also a rad effect. I mean, we have got, for some reason, Devolve is still really fresh in my memory. It is from freaking Mean Streets. We haven't had Devolve in standard Hearthstone for a very long time. I like this a lot. I think, we haven't seen a lot of cards, but I'm just like, I think we're going to find reasons to run this card.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to make a Devolving deck for sure. And even over in Wild, like this, it's so cheap and it does something so cool. And it's got the little polymorph sheep and the little hex frog on the front of it. And it just makes me so happy. And the orc behind that's like trying to dodge the missiles. Like I love this art. I love this card. It's so freaking cool.
Also, if there's fewer than 3 minions on the board, or this is random, it could hit the same target more than once, furthering the transformation into even lower mana minions.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love this. And it's 1 mana. There's no overload on this, Joss. It's 1 mana spell. I know we just came out of 0 mana hell, but so 1 mana feels like a lot, but this is right up my alley. I like this card a lot.
Yeah.
The final dual class card that was previewed is Wand Thief. It's a 1 mana, 1/2 common mage rogue minion. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
With combo, discover a mage spell.
Yeah, very specifically discover a mage spell, not discover a spell. So this is going to give you mage spells regardless of whether you slot this into a mage deck or a rogue deck.
Yes. Why wouldn't you run this? Rogues already love getting spells from other classes from random effects that are way less specific than this.
And it's a discover. It's not a random mage spell. It's a discover mechanic, which means mage spells in general are powerful. The fact that a rogue can now choose a flame strike, they can kind of potentially shore up their class's weaknesses, which I really, really like. I think this is an awesome design. It's cheap too, and not overstated in any way, shape, or form. And I think that rogues always want those cheap cards to play to activate combo effects, to buff up their Van Cleef, which how he keeps dodging nerfs, I don't know, but
you've seen the Neo meme going around, yeah?
Oh, I have, and it's so good.
It is perfect. It's just like, show me perfection, and that meme comes up. Also, like, how is this not anything but better for Secret Rogue? Because, like, you're going to get a chance to find a mage secret. So it's like one more out to find a secret when you're sitting on a Shadow Jeweler, but you're like having one of those games that we've all been there where you're just like, I've got Shadow Jeweler, where are my secrets at? Like, now you have at least one more chance to possibly, pull one out.
Absolutely. And I mean, stat line and cost and everything else, like Pharaoh Cat is all in line with this, except for, like spells are just, I think, better. I've been racking my brain ever since I saw Wand Thief on whether or not I like it more than Pharaoh Cat. I think I'm leaning towards I like Wand Thief better. The thing is that Pharaoh Cat doesn't require combo. Like, Pharaoh Cat is awkward in its own right because you can get really garbage reborn minions, but there's the chance that it helps smooth out your curve and give you something to do on those awkward early turns as a rogue. But having that, like you said, everything you said about why discovering a Mage Spell for Rogue is attractive is playing into this for me. It's like I want to get over the combo need because I like the idea of discovering a Mage Spell so much in Rogue. And then obviously if I'm a mage, like, why not? Mages already run cheap spells, so triggering a combo as a mage is not a huge ask. Hell, they just got Devolving Missiles. It's a 1 mana. Yep.
Like, I realized, like, they said they weren't going to synergize, but, maybe. Like, Devolving Missiles is its own thing. Maybe you just need a little more control in a mage deck that's running Wand Thief, and then Devolving Missiles could help trigger the combo for your Wand Thief. I don't see a world where that is completely insane.
Mm-hmm.
And now, before we move on, we have one more sponsor to thank today, and it is Harry's Razors. I don't know if you noticed, Jocelyn, but I declared war on my beard.
I did notice. I didn't want to point it out. I did notice.
Oh, no, that means you don't think it looks good.
Oh, no. No, I just didn't know if it was like done out of some necessity and made you sad or something. You've been rocking the scruff look for a while.
Yeah, I just it's
or beard.
I mentioned that, like, going out back and doing yard work. Yeah, it's really hot. So I decided off with the beard. I also, I have a little bit of a chin for the first time in a while. I won't get into reasons why. I may not have had a chin before. But, so I'm abusing the heck out of my Harry's Razors. They're still my go-to. But it's been a really long time since I did a full face shave. And it was still great. Like, I didn't have any razor burn. I didn't have any nicks. It was wonderful. I shaved my whole damn face. I got a little bit of scruff today, but I've been so damn happy with it. Anyways, you should go check them out. Listeners of The Angry Chicken can redeem their Harry's trial set at harrys.com/TAC, and you are going to get a weighted ergonomic handle for a firm grip, 5-blade razor with lubricating strip and trimmer blade, rich slathering shave gel with aloe to keep your skin hydrated, and a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and easy to grab on the go. Just go to harrys.com/TAC to start shaving better today. We thank them for their support. We thank you for going to harrys.com/TAC. You're going to get a great shave, and you're going to support the Angry Chicken in the process. It's a win-win. Yes, dual class cards. Very exciting, Jocelyn. We're very stoked about it. But there's a new keyword on the street, and that keyword is Spellburst, which, kicking us off, by the way, already winning the best name of the set, Goody Two Shields. I'm calling it, right? I am calling it. No card is going to have a better name than Goody Two Shields. But Goody Two Shields is a 3-mana, 4/2 rare paladin minion. It feels so nice to just say one class when explaining a card. With Divine Shield, Spellburst, gain Divine Shield. Now, what is Spellburst, you might be asking yourself? Well, it is a one-time activation. It is present on minions and weapons. We haven't seen a Spellburst weapon yet, but it is confirmed that it is going to be on at least one. Well, there's an S here, so I'm going to say confirmed to be on more than one weapon. And it's an effect that happens when a spell is cast. One spell. Yeah, the Spellburst is essentially consumed once it triggers. So on Goody Two Shields, for example, Goody Two Shields hits the board with Divine Shield. Say you make a trade, someone trades into it, but it doesn't die. It loses its Divine Shield. You then go to cast a spell. Spellburst consumes. Goody Two Shields gets Divine Shield back.
Right.
And there is an icon for the minion on board, much the same way like the little Death Rattle skull is down there at the bottom center, or the little lightning bolt is there at the bottom center, and it will be very clear when the Spellburst is consumed. Now that our explanation of Spellburst is out of the way, let's talk about Goody Two Shields, because this is going directly into my Pure Libram Paladin.
Yeah, and Pure Paladin has kind of been on the rise lately in the last few weeks, so I think that this could be just yet another tool that they get. And I mean, like I said on the last episode with Ridiculous Hat, I was really excited about Paladin, and then it never kind of materialized in the, like, I thought it was going to be day one, like the most powerful thing. That's where all my playtime's going to go. And it really just didn't hit my expectations over the course of the expansion, though it is, like I say, it's on the rise in popularity a little bit. But yeah, I think they could use a little bit of help, and this seems like a very helpful minion. Yeah,
they're in the low 50% win rates right now, the Pure Paladins. So they've eked out a positive win rate, but compared to Murloc Paladin lists that sit around the 60+% win rate, which rivals that of Demon Hunter. It's, if you want to climb,
that's the way to do it.
Yeah. Pure Paladin is it is a pick of passion. Let's put it that way. One that my passion died out pretty quickly, but I was also trying to slam it in the first 24 hours of Ashes of Outland, which meant just losing constantly to Demon Hunter. So. Well, we have 2 more Spellburst minions to take a look at. Diligent Note Taker is next. 2 mana, 2/3 rare shaman minion. With Spellburst, return the spell to your hand. Hot damn, I'm into this Note Taker. I mean, this just seems good, right? Like, this just freaking seems good. I mean, Shaman, Shaman's not in a great place. Like, they have been really struggling. But Totem Shaman has found a place, and there are people keeping the Galakron dream alive out there, and they don't have terrible win rates. They're kind of the poster child.
Super unpopular.
Yeah, they're a poster child for people like making fun of like how underpowered a class is. Like Shaman is kind of the punching bag right now.
Which is crazy because, I mean, if you look at the Vicious Syndicate report, it's like it gives you like the whole history of the last like year. And it's like Shaman was just like up and up and up and evolve into Galakron. And oh my God, it's amazing. And then boom, like I don't think that there's another class in the history of Hearthstone popularity wise, like and community perception wise, that has gone from so high to so low so quickly. It's just insane. And like there's not a lot of people playing Shaman right now. And I think this is an excellent tool. The 2/3 for 2 stat line is great. The Spellburst effect is awesome too. And I think this is really, really good, and it could be way overpowered if it happened more than once. So it's really interesting. The keyword itself is very, very interesting. And I think it's going to lead to some kind of cool decisions that have to be made as a player as to, what spells to pair this with, when to actually play it, whether you just slam it on 2 for tempo or whether you hold on to it to a little bit later because you're going to need a whole bunch of wide board clears, or you're going to need more hexes than are allowed to be in your deck, or all just, oh man, it's so cool. I love it. I love this design. It's so good. Yeah,
I do too. There's the most popular Totem Shaman list right now is closing in on that 60% win rate. It's a 57 and change percent win rate right now, and I think this is aggressively statted enough to consider, because the thought of getting like another Totemic Reflection off of Diligent Note Taker is really cool to me. Obviously, more mutates, more Invocation of Frost if you're Galakronding, more Farsights. Like, just with what is being played right now in Shaman, which again, admittedly, not the most popular class in the game, but just with what's out there right now, just with what's getting results, I'm already interested in this card. And also just the design of Spellburst I like a lot. Like, it's clearly, I think they were thinking about all of the infinite triggers that have existed on minions. Like, imagine a previous offender now nerfed into the ground, like Mana Worm. If it had Spellburst, like maybe you redesign the card so that it gets more than a bigger buff, but a one-time buff versus
like play a spell, gain +1/+2 or something, and then that's it forever.
Yeah, or I mean like It's not on here. I'm basing this off nothing. This is no inside knowledge, but like, there's nothing stopping them from putting like a ×2 on here, like Spellburst ×2. Like, you could have more triggers, but still put a cap to it. Like, imagine back when Auctioneer was the thing. What if Auctioneer was Spellburst instead of just potentially infinite draws?
Yeah.
Like,
or like this turn only or something. Or there's lots of ways that you could play with this, I think.
It's a well-designed keyword from a balance perspective.
Yeah.
I dig it. I dig it quite a bit. Final Spellburst minion is Wretched Tutor, a 4-mana, 2/5 common neutral minion with Spellburst. Deal 2 damage to all other minions. I think of the 3, this is probably the most mundane, but it's still a 2 damage potential board clear. Still a decent effect. It's a good arena card. I like it quite a bit in that regard. Let's get on to studies, which only one has been previewed. So studies are a theme for this expansion, and what studies are is a type where you are going to discover a card and discount the next card played of that type. And that's exactly what the previewed study that they have shown does. It's called Nature Studies. It's a 1-mana common druid spell, and it reads, discover a spell. Your next one costs 1 less, meaning your next spell costs 1 less.
Right. So not necessarily the one that you discover, just the next time that you play a spell, you get a 1-mana spell reduction, which is really cool.
And I love next as a card text in Hearthstone because it means you can save it for another turn.
Right, exactly. It's the same. We saw a lot with the dragon minions too. The mana discount on the next dragon you play, and again, there's a lot of cool decisions that need to be made there. And I mean, the spell druid, more cheap spells. Spell druid's like, yeah, here we go, Mount Seller, let's do this.
Yep. So cool card. Expect to see more studies, but this is the only one we have seen so far.